For me, it's more about like figuring out who you are as a person, and for me, that's about like what are your values, what are your core qualities, and what is your dream or your purpose in life. So, what is something that you want to contribute to?
All right, runners.
I'm just thinking about the shit that's recording there with you. Just start, man.
I'm trying to find
Get your
a good
shit
intro.
together.
I'm trying to find the right moment to start. I'm waiting for it to feel right,
Okay.
and also for your cue. Got you. Hello and welcome back to Hearts Wide Open. We're bringing you another episode. With me, I have our amazing Surush.
Hey everyone, I'm just very happy to be here.
Yeah, he's been very happy for a while.
Yeah.
And we have a wonderful guest with us today as well. He is a serial marathon runner, a photographer, animal lover. He works at the zoo in Amsterdam. He's also a former consultant, and he is vegan too. Yes, and this is our dear guest, Mr. Daley. Give it up for Daley.
Thank you, guys. So nice to be here.
Nice, man. Yeah, I remember we met at an event we organized together in 2015. I think.
So long ago.
Yeah, I think we've come a long way since then. I think you did not have a beard at all at the time, and now.
No, I didn't shave since the first time we met.
It has been 9 years, guys.
Well, yeah, same for me actually. Yeah, and I think, yeah, since then so many things have happened. We've both also developed on our partially joint journey, but also apart. And yeah, I'm just so happy to have you here today. I think you have a lot of interesting things to share and talk about. So really looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, let's see. And maybe to get things started, where are you coming from right now?
Yeah, so I did come from the zoo.
From the zoo,
Yeah.
yes.
I started working there a little over 1 year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And like every day since then has been a blast. Like it's such a special place to be the first one to arrive at the zoo, or at least one of the first ones, and to see like the flamingos and the gibbons, like they're just singing, and feels very special to be part of that place, and feels very wholesome to start my working day like in that peacefulness, and knowing that like the things that I'm doing, it's about like control or about like conserving that and about contributing to the mission that we have at the zoo to inspire people.
I think it's so fun when I think of the zoo. I think this memory is mostly from childhood. Like I think of zookeepers, people feeding the animals. I don't know, maybe petting the animals too, giving them some love. What do you do at the zoo out of those things, or something different?
Yeah, I do the not so cool things because indeed, like there's obviously a lot of kids that have these dreams of like, yeah, I want to become a zookeeper and take care of like all these majestic animals like elephants, lions, chimps, gorillas. But I work with data, which is also very excited.
Different kind of animal.
Exactly, and much more difficult to keep to take care of. No, so I work there as a data analyst. So I'm really about like the numbers, trying to visualize that, and actually helping like both like the marketing department, but also finance and operational teams to make sure that we can reach as many people as possible, and also that we can keep evolving the zoo, that we have enough funding so that we can do like our investments, and also to make sure that, which for me it's all about like, yeah, it's definitely about the animals, but it's like the same inspiration and admiration that I feel every day, like being in that place. I want other people to feel that as well. And hopefully also take that into account and like change their behavior accordingly.
On that note, what's the favorite thing about working at the zoo? Or is it, what's your favorite thing about your job, first of all?
I think for me, it's really about the place, like the physical place connected to the purpose, to the mission. Because before I was a consultant, a strategy consultant. So when I look objectively, like what am I doing on a day-to-day basis, it's still Excel, it's still PowerPoint, it's still being in meetings about numbers and like, okay, what does this tell us and where do we want to go, where are we currently at, and what is blocking us to go there. So in those senses, it's very similar. Obviously, the people are very different. Like I used to work with mostly guys from like a business background, and right now it's much more diverse, which I think also challenges me more on like my communication and how I behave with my colleagues. But what makes it very different is just being in that physical place and having that sensation, like that magical sensation. Like it starts feeling a little bit like Disneyland. It's not like Disneyland, but in a way it is similar, I think. And also knowing that in the things that I do, I know that I'm contributing to inspiring and reaching as many people as possible to take care of our nature and wildlife.
Just for a clarification, that maybe also some of the listeners were wondering how to picture this workplace now, because you said like it's really the place, the zoo with all the animals there as well. And then you're a data analyst who's behind the screen working on a computer. So where's your office in the zoo? Is it near an animal cage? Are you like looking through windows to animals? Like, yeah,
it's actually in the middle of the zoo. So the people who have been to Artis, maybe like like the big vulture enclosure.
Okay.
Like on the one side, it has like a tall building, and that's our office building.
Wow.
And I'm not fortunate enough to have like an actual view in the vulture enclosure, but especially when the weather is nice and we open up the windows, then we can hear the chimps like screaming, which is sometimes very nice, sometimes also very annoying and disturbing. But I think the most disturbing thing are the tortoises.
Okay.
When they're mating, like it's like one of the loudest. Yeah, they're extremely loud.
It sounds like they're in pain.
And the first time you're like, what the hell is this? But then if you know, it gets very disturbing.
Ooh, wow. So you're like kind of in a mini jungle in the middle of the capital.
Yeah, I think we're like one of the, at least like the most diverse place in Amsterdam. I think also the darkest, which is something really cool we did. Like a while ago, what we usually do, we shut down like all the lights at Artis, and then we went flying with a drone, and then you see like all these lights in Amsterdam, and there's one like very dark spot, which is Artis.
When I met you, you were still a student, I think.
Yeah, business and finance, accounting.
So yeah, from that, and then I know you became a consultant, and then fast forward, now you're at the zoo. How did that switch come, or was it always your dream to work at the zoo? Like,
no, I don't think so. Like I met recently also with people that I studied with. So then we bumped into each other and we started talking, and I was like, yeah, but you were never that big of a fan about animals, right? Which I think I was, like I always was an animal lover, but not to the extent that I'm currently at. And I think that changed mostly during COVID, when I started picking up my camera, which was like catching dust in the closet. And like I had to work from home. I was like, yeah, I want to go outside. I want to do something valuable with my time. So I want to get like that creativity flowing. So photography, but also want to be outside. So I took a subscription at my local zoo. And that's where my passion really started, about like observing the animals and seeing like how they interact. Then I was a consultant. I was a strategy consultant, which I think is amazing for like the skills and experience that you have. But for me, especially at a certain point, it also started like, yeah, I'm kind of prostituting my time and my brain and my skills to whoever wants to pay for it. I started noticing that this is not feeling right. Like for me, it wasn't. It was also a little bit, but not necessarily about like the crazy working culture, because the office, the company that I was working for was not like the nightmare scenario that you sometimes hear from like people working in like the very big corporate strategy consultants. But for me, it was more like, yeah, what I'm like the projects that I'm working on are not really aligned with like my mission, my dreams, my values. And I think especially at a certain time, I had to help a client to make sure that we could sustain the current way how we process animals in the Netherlands in like our agricultural system, which was like, yeah, but this is not what I want to spend my time and energy and passion on.
Yeah, especially if you're passionate about animals and veganism, then yeah, I see the.
So I was in workshops with indeed like people who had like a shit ton of pigs and chicken.
And how did that impact you over time, or like how did that lead up to in the end taking the decision to leave that environment? Like how did that go? Because I imagine when you got the job, you were excited about it, like you are when you start a new thing.
I think it was something that was like on and off for quite a while. So every now and then I had like this, at least this like, is this really what I see myself doing for the long run? And for me, the answer usually was no. But then the answer would or the next question would always be like, okay, but then what else? Like, if not, what else? And I think what scared me also is like, okay, do I want to give up like this position, this career path, also with like the benefits that come with it? Because yeah, usually like the more corporate positions, especially at an entry level, they do pay better. So I think that was something that was holding me back. I think also a little bit like, because I got raised, I think also in a way like if you can do whatever you want, but as long as you do something, you commit. And I think that was something also with my studies. Like I did a second degree in accounting, which I'm not really using and I wasn't really passionate about anymore. But it was like, yeah, I started it, so let's get it over with. Which also felt a little like I also had these same thoughts and feelings during my first marathon. It's like, let the hell get this over with, and then I'm never gonna do this again. But then like 15 minutes after a cup of hot chocolate, I was like, it's actually pretty cool.
Okay. So did that also happen at work then? That you had these moments where you were frustrated, you're like, I don't like this, but then the next day maybe the hot chocolate moment came back.
I think in a way, yeah, that I knew what I was into. So I think also a little bit like that certainty and that I knew I could survive the suffering. That was okay, but like, why should I change? Because I could kind of rationalize for myself, yeah, but this is something that I must want, right? That I should have to be excited about.
What does this refers
to? To my job.
Okay.
Like working in a high-paced environment with a lot of young, talented people.
So you told yourself this is something that I should be excited about?
Yeah, like I should be excited about that I'm doing projects that have like a span of tens of millions or even more, and that do have an impact. But still for me, there was a very strong disconnection between the heart and the mind. Like, yeah, rationally I could try to convince myself, but then like these emotions and really that inner fire, like
where was your heart at? Because was it really because of that one project that you said? Because I know within those industry you can always change the project even if you don't like it, or you can say no at the beginning. So what was the reason that you said, okay, I cannot do this?
So I think for me the reason was twofold. Like first one being like at a certain point it did click to me like, yeah, but this, like I got excited about photography with animals. I got excited about doing like this fundraiser for the African painted dogs. So for me at a certain point it clicked like, yeah, this is something that I want to contribute to. So it has to do with nature, it has to do with sustainability, it has to do with wildlife. But then something that I was still not sure about, like, okay, so in what kind of position that would be. And I think the other reason to look for something else rather than being a consultant was that I started missing this human connection. because yes, you do have your colleagues on and you're working on projects together, but still, it feels a little bit. And I heard a snippet from it in another Dutch podcast, I think 2 weeks ago, which is like the opposite of a cult is a consultant, because a consultant is like super objective, and to be honest, couldn't care less about what the actual outcome is going to be, how long as long as it can be rationally explained and nicely written down in a deck of sheets.
So you basically, correct me if I'm wrong, but the main reason was not that you were unhappy necessarily from there, but it was more of you found a new passion that okay, why instead of prostituting my time and soul, as you said, bad, put it in something that I actually like and value.
I'm not sure if I was unhappy. Like I know that I was not happy.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think at a certain point I noticed, like, at least when it comes to work, I was trying to kind of numb my emotions and just trying to deliver and do what I felt was expected of me, rather than doing something that I really felt passionate about and that I wanted to do.
And so at some point you, like, this little noise inside you kept saying, yeah, but it doesn't feel right. This is actually not what I want to do. And then at some point it reached volume where you were listening to it, and then you said, like, okay. And
yeah, and we're still like a little bit of luck, a little bit of coincidence, because I was doing animal and zoo photography. I'm following like also all these Instagram pages, and then like this job position popped up like in between like some pictures of some photographer friends. Like, yeah, artist is looking for a data analyst. Like, this could be interesting. So I think my hobby or one of my passions helped me to find that way.
And yeah, you also brought this book that's here on the table called No More Mr. Nice Guy. I'm sure some of our listeners have heard about it. Did this also play a role in this decision to leave the time being a consultant, moving to the...
No, only later, actually. I got it tipped by a girl that I was dating after I made that, like recently after I made that job position. But we met after I already changed my job.
Yeah.
And then when I started reading it, it's actually quite an old book. I think it's like 20 years old or something like that. Like certain things started clicking and other things were like, fuck. Still a long way to go.
But this is a topic, like this No More Mr. Nice Guy, or I think it's people pleasing, we can also call it. This is something that's very present in your life? Or?
Yeah, and I would say it's even about like toxic people pleasing.
Toxic people pleasing. Yeah. And do you have an example what that could be, or what that is for you?
Well, for me, I think to an extent, it's my people pleasing is like a defense and a coping mechanism. It's for me something that I feel that I think it's especially the first chapter, which was like, yeah, but I want to disagree with this so much. Because to me, like, I have this image in my mind, like this paradigm, like as long as I'm nice to people, like I can get my way, like I can have like this happy life, don't need to worry about people not accepting me.
And this is the narrative you tell yourself.
Yeah, so my narrative is like, as long as I'm extremely nice, I will get what I want, or I will get what I think I need.
And what is that, if I may ask?
So it's like happiness in work, social relationships, intimate relationships.
People will like me more, people will give me things, or... Yeah. Okay, cool. Where do you think this came from?
Well, I think the answer is always childhood.
For a lot of things.
For a lot of things. But I think for me, it has to do, for a big part, like I have two younger sisters. I'm the oldest one. And I think, and I don't know if it was encouraged or told to me by my parents or something that I started experimenting with and apparently kind of worked.
Yeah.
But for me, the easiest way to go about was if I would help people and not bother them. So that would be like from the very small, from like the bigger things, like if my parents or my grandma would host a party, like I would help them with like serving the food, and then get complimented about that by my family. But also to a very low level, like if I would be playing with a certain toy and then my sister wanted to play with it, I would let her, even though I was playing with it, so I obviously would want to play with it.
So you want, even though the toy is what you wanted, and you thought by being nice you get it, or you get what you want. In those cases,
No, I think in that sense, it was like what I value more was like probably the recognition,
love of
the love for my parents and maybe my sister,
yeah.
and not being a potential cause of conflict or trouble.
I can really relate with that, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners also relate to that, like not being able to say no, always being there in any situation, smiling, helping. You know, I'm a good boy, I'm a good son, good partner, whatever, which role, good employee. Yeah.
But yeah, I can also imagine, and for me, for sure, this also has a lot to do with like boundaries. So like not having boundaries because other people's needs are higher than mine. Like I need to solve other people's problems. I need to be there for others. But at the end of the day, am I taking care of myself?
For me, I think it's indeed like that fear of rejection, not wanting to be a burden, but also I think like this utopian narrative, like as long as I'm nice, things will turn out fine, will turn out a good way. And I think, for instance, for me, it took also quite a while before I was confident enough to demand my parents that, yeah, I'm a vegetarian now, so I'm not going to eat meat. So I think for 2 years or so, I think also back then I was more vegetarian for climate reasons, I would say, rather than animal welfare. Because I think otherwise or at least I hope I would have made a different decision back then. But I think for like a year or two, I would still eat meat occasionally when I was like eating at my parents' or other family or friends, because I didn't want to be the burden of being a vegetarian.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe a lot of our friends are vegetarians, and when they go home, they still have to listen to this type of comments like, even like maybe your parents didn't do that. I think a lot of backlash from home, like, you're not eating the food, like.
For me, it's interesting that. Are you offended if someone tells you you're a nice guy? How do you take it if I tell you you're a nice guy? Different people.
It changed over the past year. I think before it was like, I wouldn't say like the happiest, but it was something that I wanted to hear, or maybe not even, also hear directly. Like I tend to downplay that. Like for instance, that I would have preferred if they told each other, like, Daley is such a nice guy, rather than telling me directly. But no, like, cut the crap, cut the bullshit. Like, of course, I wanted that affirmation. That's eventually what it's all about.
Yeah.
Both vocal, but also physical. But I think right now, and I have mixed feelings, because yes, I still want to be that. I still want to be nice, and I think it's still like in my character, it's in my values to help people. But I think also it triggers me, like, but are you a healthy, nice guy? Or I think they call it integrated male in the book. Or are
What
you
does it
just
mean, integrate?
So it's more about like, you can do nice gestures and you can be helpful and you can be kind. Like it's not that the opposite of a nice guy is the biggest jerk, the biggest asshole in the world. Like you need to start like hitting people and cursing at them. But it's more like being integrated, or like accepting and embracing like all the different components of yourself, both emotionally, physically, and psychologically.
Being good to others, but also being good to yourself.
Good to yourself.
On the other one, you would be the more good to others and not care about yourself. And then the other one would be only you. I don't care about anyone else. And yeah, somewhere in the middle, both.
Yeah.
Like that. Balance.
Nice.
Yeah, yourself, others, like your positive sides, but also your flaws.
But I didn't get the response. You were saying something where nowadays you're double-sided about her. Is there someone... Daley is a nice guy. You said you might feel different about it.
Yeah. And I think that's also depending on the context. Because I think like, yeah, I still really like it if people think it's nice to work with me or to spend time with me. But then on the other hand, it's also like, yeah, nice.
You also don't want people to think that means that they can do anything with you, right? Like,
yeah, it's like I don't want to be like a pushover.
Yeah. So I can imagine that's also maybe why that compliment, I don't know, also has a negative tone maybe to your ears.
Yeah, and I think like that's one side. I think the other side is like I'm gonna use a running anomaly.
Yeah.
Like if you start running for something, like the first years when I started running, I was doing like what they call like gray training. So everything was like a little bit in the middle, like same intensity, same speed. But I started noticing much more progress when I was doing like more peak or extreme training. So either like if you want to go fast, or if you have to go fast. And if you don't have to, go really slow, but not like all the things in the middle. And I feel that like by calling me a nice guy, I'm also like, yeah, I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
So it also has a little bit like, yeah, but do you really want to spend time with me? Or is it like, yeah, just whatever. Like cool if he's here, but also cool if he's not.
That worries.
Yeah, I think to a bigger and bigger extent, it starts worrying me because
what if people don't? You ask yourself, what if people don't want to spend time with you?
I sometimes do, and like for me, I'm maybe also like putting on a mask, like saying like, yeah, it's fine if people tell me that they don't want to spend time with me. But I think I started at least reaching more of a point in which it's like, yeah, I either want to spend time with you, but really spend time because we want to spend time together, or if we don't, because there's just like no match or like no connection, like, and it can be like on all different kinds of levels, which is also perfectly fine, but just like be honest about it then, and
yeah,
not just being there because some random things happen. So we are like walking parallel or running parallel on like the walk of life. But if you wouldn't have been here, like also fine.
Yeah, and okay, well, for me, we also had a discussion with you. I don't know if you remember you, Dennis. If you are listening, yeah, sorry. Maybe watch us on YouTube. And so a promotion that if you want to also see our faces and the visuals and the beautiful things that are on the table, yeah, watch us on YouTube.
Yep, and subscribe and like.
And like and subscribe. On that note, we were once taught, because for me, nice guy, I think in the current world, when you call someone a nice guy, it has a negative tone. He's a nice guy. Well, maybe it depends on how you say it, actually. Because if I'm saying it to a coworker, I say he's a nice guy. And I really mean it. But I also have this in my mind that girls sometimes call you, "Oh, you're too nice," like this, and it takes a negative turn.
You know, it's interesting that you say that, because I went to a workshop last weekend about toxic masculinity and feminism, and we actually we wrote on the board, on 2 boards, what it means stereotypically to be a male or a female. And then for the male one, it said things like aggressive, dominant, get what he wants, assertive, these type of things, you know? And I think for male, for like what it means to be a man, like
Would that be
stereotypically.
toxic masculinity or
So according to society,
Those are things like strong, rude, maybe even. Those are things that are considered like manly, like very extreme. Of course, it's stereotypical and exaggerated, but I think this would explain a little bit why nice guy can sound like not like a nice thing to hear for a guy, because being nice is more a female quality than it is a male quality, because as a male you're more aggressive, rude, strong, you know, like you have a hard shell, and being nice is soft. So maybe it can feel like that too. I mean,
It does.
at least for me, that's when people call me, I like Dennis, he's so nice, and like, yeah, but I'm not only nice, and not
So
always.
you take it negative.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I want.
think-
This is what
yeah.
I was asking.
I think to me it also sounds like not dating material.
Yeah.
Not dating.
yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Okay, nice one.
It's like the people that you can just chill
Ah,
with, like
yeah.
don't need to worry about it.
Yeah.
If you have troubles with your strong masculine boyfriend, you can talk to him.
But this is, to some extent, I think it is the truth. Like, talk all you want about it, but I think it's difficult for people when you call someone too nice. The girl do not want to date that person. Well, of course, we have also girls who are more into that energy. You know what I mean?
I think when you say too nice, especially because you added the too to it, I think nice is good, but too nice probably means that I also don't have boundaries. Because if
Yeah.
you're more than nice, like too nice, then you're likely overstepping your own boundaries, and you're not nice to yourself in order to be nice to
Exactly.
others.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not a likable. I agree with that. Like, I mean,
So it
I think it's
becomes a
good to be a
toxic
nice guy.
trait.
Yeah, it's always good to be a nice guy. It's not good to always be a nice guy.
Yeah, no matter what.
Yeah, no, exactly. Not at all costs. You need to have your own boundaries, respect for yourself. That's also that's also attractive, I think, for male and female.
Yeah.
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 Wow. So interesting. We're also diving into other topics at the same time now. I think like just what it means to be a man, or what it can mean, or what it cannot mean.
What is it? What does it mean to be a man for you? For me, it is a person that kind of has the ability to conquer and be like have that fire energy, but control it. Like I have the energy within me if I want to use it, but I choose not to, and I choose kindness and being nice to other people. But if I need to, I will also can use it. This is how it is for me.
Okay.
So I am nice. I do identify as a person who is nice, and I don't have any problem with someone who is nice. This is for me.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. I said it before in another episode. I think third or fourth. I don't remember the exact words, no, but I think it's something along the lines, feeling like I'm truly my authentic self, so I can be who I am and who I want to be. So I'm not like hiding myself. Being authentic, being real, knowing what I can contribute to spaces, and irradiating love around my environment, to the people around me, to family, to friends, even in the hard times as well, to still appreciate and see humans for who they are. And for me, that's what it means to be a man, mainly being authentic and being myself. This is my definition. Doesn't need to be yours. You have your own, right? So I think everyone should actually take the time and make their own definition of what it means to be a man or a woman. Because otherwise, if you just go by the stereotypical default what society and capitalistic society is trying to push on us, you should be like strong, aggressive, have these muscles, be 2 meters tall, you know. Yeah. And those are just things I don't want to submit to. Like, so I rather have my own definition.
Okay.
That's me. And I'm sure Daley also has his own definition. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think also connecting to you, Dennis, because I think that's very beautiful for me. That it also clicked. Like, yeah, but for me, the question is not like, what does it mean to be a man? For me, it's about like, what does it mean to be a human being?
Yeah.
And for me, gender just like, yeah, it's like the physical appearance, which can make it either easier or more difficult. I would say, because for me it's more about like figuring out who you are as a person, and for me that's about like what are your values, what are your core qualities, and what is your dream or your purpose in life. So what is something that you want to contribute to? Can be one thing, can also be multiple things, and how you define your way of making sure that you live up to your values, that you apply the talents that you got or that you developed to contribute to something that's bigger than just you. And it can be an organization, it can be a company, it can be a family, it can be just people whom you don't share a bloodline with to help them out.
I think what you're talking about is purpose, but you've made it much more understandable, I think, because purpose can be really small actions that just have this like end goal in mind. Like you love animals, you support the painted dog. We're gonna talk about that as well in a bit. And you love running, so you're running and you're fundraising with your running for the painted dogs, you know? So you're like, these are small things how your purpose can add up into actions in your daily life, and you're living them. And yeah, I think that's beautiful.
at least on that side, I feel integrated.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's like, and I think life is about finding these, like, keep exploring different hobbies, go to the zoo, check out the animals, maybe you like them, go for a run, go try a new sport, and then, like, you will, by experiencing and exploring new things, you will at some point realize that some things you like more or feel better than other things. And I think that way you can get one step closer always to your purpose. And yeah, I hope for everyone out there that you will at some point in your life reach that moment where you can say, wow, most of my actions are aligned with my purpose. And for some people that's at 20, some people lose it again at 30, get it back at 40. If you're 50, you can still find purpose with 60. Yeah. That's my 2 cents on that topic. I don't know where to take it from.
Doesn't take it away that like sometimes it's like either easier or more difficult if you have a penis.
In my opinion, what you mentioned is a definition of a human.
I consciously changed the question, also because I think that at least like the stereotypical male or the social definition of a male is something that I don't, at least not fully, but I would say like to a very big extent, wouldn't necessarily adhere to.
Yeah,
so also for me, it feels more comfortable to answer the question this way.
Yeah, of course.
I definitely agree that there's a social part, societal part.
Yeah.
I also think that we have multiple,
cultural.
like every person is so multi-layered, and I think we have masculine and feminine sides to us. Like I embrace my feminine side when I'm being a good listener. When I'm more talking and sending information, then I'm more embracing my male side. And I think being a man for me also means to be able to tap into different modes, in different situations, and being in that. But yeah, there's obviously some male qualities and female qualities, and I think as a man, you don't need to embrace only the male ones. You can pick and choose. And I think having the power to do that, that's what it means to be a man.
If you have the power to
Yeah, you can develop that.
Yeah, but also I think it's partially environmental. Like if you, I don't know, I feel like if you grow up in an environment like if you're a kid and all of a sudden your father pass away and there's you and two sister and mother to take care of, I think you grew up to be a caretaker of a family. I do truly believe that.
Yeah, it depends a lot on circumstances and environment for sure.
And I think this is the stereotype, as you call it, definition of a male that came up through evolution. Because back then, I don't know, they have to go fight, they have to go hunt, they have to go, and the women were more taking care of the kids and taking care of the home environment to try to stick things together. This is a traditional definition. And now it's more mixing the things together to match up the energy and mixing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's always what's demanded. If you go back to the stone, like I don't want to say Stone Age, it sounds so weird, but like if you go back a few thousand years, like the priorities change, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even our parents, my great grandparents, their priorities were different ones. Some of them were living all together in one house. I have my own apartment. Like, it's different situations. It's the cards you're getting dealt, the time you were born.
Yeah, the environment, yeah.
This is how's your family situation, your social situation, which country, city are you in? Are you rural? Are you in a bigger place? I think all this plays a role, of course. I think those are the cards you're dealt at the beginning of your life. I think what you do after that with those cards, that's still up to you. So even if you're put in a role where you need to provide for your family, be strong, like keep it together, I think that's fine. I think you still have enough lifetime left to also redefine what it means to be a man from that situation that you're in. Now you're taking care of your whole family, but this situation will not be until the end of your life that you're the caretaker of your family. You know, at some point someone will take over from you or people pass away. I don't know.
But I think it's very difficult.
I think, that's with some cards it's harder to win. With others it's easier, right? So it's like this, I think.
Yeah. Okay, but that's, I think, maybe a different topic.
Also, something that pops into my mind is like how like chimps, bonobos, and gorillas.
Yeah.
What?
And
Chimps?
orangutans, like which are all primates. Like all monkeys that have a very close genetic bond to us.
Yeah.
Like at least the position of the male in like their social structures is extremely different for all of them. Like for bonobos, it's the females that rule the world. Like the males are just there, like just pretending to be boss. But in the end, it's like just let them be. Like doesn't matter. For chimps, they are like in politics, like they need to create like these alliances to get the power and to keep the power.
They
While
also
for gorillas,
live in tribes, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they live in tribes.
While for gorillas, it's like one very big silverback, one very big male that's really like the protector of the tribe.
Well,
which type of monkey are you then?
I'm not gonna say it.
Well, me neither.
Yeah.
But we all want to be the gorilla.
I don't know.
I think I like the
Maybe,
chimps actually.
No, I think everyone wants to be the gorilla. I think this is in you.
Silverback.
I am.
You're a silverback. Okay.
No, I think this is human nature. I don't know. I think this is human nature. That you want to be on the top of the food chain. Let's say we'd call it.
Yeah, the thing is then
Power.
The thing is then if you're born in a time where maybe the food chain is not a problem that needs to be solved because it's solved, you're not hungry
enough.
Yeah, then you can also adjust the role. You don't need the same role if.
But what if the
Then why do you want to be on top?
What if the silverback dies?
Because look, if you want to be on top of the food chain, it means you don't want to be on the bottom of the food chain. But if the food chain doesn't matter because it's the same for everyone, then there's no top or bottom.
I do not agree with the equal food chain for everyone.
Okay.
I don't think equality means the same thing for everyone.
No, not the same, but equal.
Yeah, that I agree.
Yeah. So you are Sarouche 2 meter tall. I'm Dennis 180.
Yeah.
You need more calories than me maybe to walk 200 meters, so you get a little bit more food. Yeah, that's equal.
Okay, this I agree.
Okay, yeah. So, this I understand.
We're not getting the same food.
This podcast, we've been talking to a lot of people who love running, and we're not done yet. We have, I think, a couple more people that are also runners that are coming up. Surush has been running recently his first half marathon. Hey! Woo! Woo! Check out the after movie actually on our Instagrams.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that on the next episode probably. But Daley, you're also a serial marathon runner. That's how I introduced you. And I was just also wondering. We already mentioned your fundraising with your runs as well for the Painted Dogs. What else is running doing for you? And why do I think last year you ran 8 marathons? Or
No, last year I did 5.
yeah.
Actually did just like not an event, but I did one on Sunday as well.
Yeah.
Just felt like, the sun is out.
Yeah, so like what the fuck, man? Like how come that you're so into like is one not enough?
What's
Like
wrong with you?
I want to run my first one next year, and I'm just thinking like one time in my life I will run a marathon. You're just like running more than I can count on 2 hands. Why? What's up with that?
Yeah, that's a very good question. That's also some.
And how has it helped you, if it has?
Yeah.
I think that's like jokingly. I always, or not always, but I sometimes tell people like, I run. Also, so I can run away from my problems. But I think for me, running is something that at least helped me to reclaim like part of my life, because it gives me structure. It gives me confidence. It forces me to take care of myself. Like I need to eat well, I need to sleep well, I need to rest, I need to do my trainings. Otherwise, I'm not gonna achieve my goals. So I think in that sense, running is really giving me like that structure. Also forces me to go out and to move, because just like nature and physical activity are, I think, among the most important things like for your mental health. And for me, like having signed up for yet another marathon is something that forces me to go outside. Like even though it's cold, even though it's dark, even though it's maybe raining. And I think also inspired by other runners, I started embracing these adverse conditions sometimes even, because if I can do a 2-hour run in the rain, like imagine how nice it's gonna be when I can do like a 2-hour rain when the sun is out, like nice and shiny. When I can do it, like pull off these trainings on my own, like in a random part of the Netherlands. Like imagine how cool it would be to do that like in a private game reserve in South Africa or in Florence or in Amsterdam, when there's like people along the road like cheering for you, when there's other people running with you. So I think in that sense running really helped me. And I think also like I really enjoy being like at this level of fitness that just like any given Sunday or whatever day of the week it would be, like if you want me to run a marathon, like I can do it.
I think it's so interesting to hear, because that's really a common theme among guests, that the ones that are working on their mental health have a daily practice or weekly practice or a practice in their life. For you, that seems to be running, and maybe also the zoo, but probably nurtures different sides of you.
Yeah, I think the zoo is more about like I think both inspiration but also mindfulness. Like if I'm stressed, that's also the cool thing about working at Artis. So when I'm stressed, I can just go and watch the flamingos, or
it's more calm and relaxed, and then the running is more structure and energy, and
and also forces me to tap that into other parts of
How do you
life.
Okay, 2 questions. What do you think about when you're running?
or do you think at all?
Yeah.
It depends. Because I think it depends on my state of mind. It depends on the training that I'm doing. So when I'm stressed, I really enjoy doing like those hard trainings, just pump up like those music, the music, and just do like my intervals. I do like a big tempo run. for instance, on Sunday, I was like, I'm just gonna go out, like probably run for 2.5 hours. I was like, the sun is out, nice. But then I'm also listening to podcasts about running.
About men's
About
mental health.
men's mental health.
Hearts wide open,
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah, good to see that you guys also put like a few longer ones out.
We
that
are in
you
your
can-
mind, yeah.
Yeah. For
can
the
do
long
during your
runs.
long runs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Actually, like you brought some cool running stuff as well. This
Yeah.
is like maybe the coolest
Yeah, the-
medal ever.
Medal, yeah. If you're just listening, we have a medal. Maybe you can describe the medal. It looks fucking cool.
Yeah, so this is from the marathon in Florence that I did last year, which I think also for me was, I think one in which I really embraced like that experience, like going to Italy, going there, just, well, it's not that far, and I've traveled before, so it's not like miracle, like
But
going
it's still
to
different if you have
to
to
Florence, but
Go
sleep in
race.
another bed and then run in a different city.
Yeah, and for me, I think also like the bigger things when it comes to mental health was also like just accepting like, okay, I'm gonna be there for a couple of days. I'm gonna go to a restaurant like by myself and enjoy food,
Yeah.
rather than being embarrassed like I'm here without anyone, like without any friends, without a partner. So just hide like either in my phone or in a book. So I think in that sense it was a really good one. And also was my personal best at a marathon. But this medal, it has like Mercury, the Greek or Roman god.
I show it to the camera for everyone.
It's close enough.
Yeah, I think it's close enough. Yeah.
Right now I found like this very nice place in my apartment, in my hallway. So when I enter my apartment or when I leave, I see like all these medals, like all these good memories.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah, also, I think you should be proud of yourself that you went there alone.
Yeah.
To run a marathon, and what you said with just going to restaurant and all this stuff, I think this is also a big mental challenge
Yeah.
on top of the marathon.
Yeah, I think like for a lot of people, for myself as well, like going to the cinema or going for food by myself still feels weird because I feel like it's something that you have to do with someone else. At the same time, when I did it, I felt really powerful and very strong. I'm enough company to do these things by myself.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. So yeah, just big shout out to you.
And how do you feel after your run? What is the feeling that is in you?
Oh, it depends. Because I think for a lot of, like, I also find it a very interesting and difficult question. Like, what do you like more, like the first step or the last step of your run? So I'm just bringing this up to to gain some time.
Yeah.
I think in general, I feel like very happy and very fulfilled after I run.
Is there something else that you would like to leave our listeners with? Any wish for today or something? And then I'd like to ask you about this beautiful picture after that.
Well, I think what I would wish, like the two of you, the listeners, but also myself, is to like take care of yourself. And I think that that's also something that running is doing to me, at least physically. I think I still have like a long journey to go, like to also do that emotionally and psychologically. But take care of yourself and try to embrace like who you are and be proud of yourself. I think, which is something that I'm not very often proud of myself, but like I think pride is like one of the most beautiful energies and emotions to witness in someone else.
Beautiful. Thank you for these amazing wishes. Thank you so much, really, from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of the listeners, and
me.
and behalf of Suru. Oh man.
Good thing, standing up for yourself.
And we also wanted to make you aware that you can follow Daley on his running journeys, but also on his photography of the beautiful animals in different zoos around the world and the Netherlands. And on both channels, you can also support him and the painted dogs. Do you want to talk about the painted dogs? Because I just know how they look from you. I didn't know.
Yeah, so I'm gonna show this picture. This is actually one of the girls that lives in Artis.
All right.
And this was, I think, one of the, not the first, but one of the earlier pictures that I took, because for me, like, this passion for these species also started with photography, like observing them, seeing how they interact. Because the cool thing is they sneeze to vote whether they want to go hunt or not.
Okay.
So you need to have like a simple majority to go for a hunt. And I wanted to give something back for these animals. And unfortunately, like for many species, they're not doing so well. There's less than 1% left of the adult species that used to be there like about a century ago. And I'm running for an NGO that's located in Zimbabwe. It's called Painted Dog Conservation. So it's actually a very cool organization that works together with the local communities to both take care of the dogs, to make sure that they are better protected, like with those protected collars, to do research, also to make sure that if they get injured, that they help them. But also they work very closely related with the local community. So they organize bush camps for the kids. So they can learn about nature and about the dogs. They have like an art center in which they create like beautiful art, and also like the proceedings go to both the communities and the dogs. So they're really on like all about like connecting the welfare and the well-being of the dogs and nature in general to the welfare and the well-being of the people. And I think that's also like something very powerful
pretty cool.
to experience. And like if you want to support me, it's very highly appreciated.
Yeah, support Daley and the Painted Dog. It's so cool that you can combine your passions and your purpose like this, and both run and do something for the dogs. Yeah, we're gonna add the links in the description where you can donate, where you can follow Daley on his journeys.
I just wanted to invite everyone to interact with our content, like us, share. It means a lot for us. We do this in our free time. Yeah, so like, subscribe, and share.
Exactly. And with that, we'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for joining us today.
See you later from Sarouche.
From Daley. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.